All right, let's get back to that story. On the anniversary of September 11th, our Stephen Cavazos shows us what happened locally to commemorate it.
September 11th, 2001. A day thousands will never forget. Mayor Joe McComb recalls the exact moment he discovered our country was changed forever.
I remember I was at the courthouse and somebody first came in and said, a plane's gone into one of the World Trade Towers.
17 years later, McComb believes the attacks on 9/11 have proven one thing.
We don't ever give up. I mean, we've been down, but we don't give up. And that's to me, that's what makes America great.
And it's a bravery that many came together to honor. The Corpus Christi Fire Department and Police Department joined at the Del Mar West campus to remember the courageous acts of that day.
Many first responders, all of them were fathers and mothers and had sisters and brothers and parents that sorely miss them, and we miss them as well.
Rocha also praising our own first responders, all sharing a common thread with many across the country.
We have people that are willing to put their lives on the line, people here in the uniform that do the same thing every day.
Chief Mike Markle believes in times of hardship, our country stands united and stronger.
You saw it last year with Hurricane Harvey, you see it in incidences around the country. So people do come together in times of tragedy.
And he hopes the brave acts of many will live on for years to come.
Today is about remembering the courage, the heroism, and all those good human qualities that came together that day.
Stephen Cavazos, 3 News.
Touching, very touching, indeed.